Director Evaluation Committee. And we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Sarah, could you do roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner York.
I'm here.
Commissioner Montero.
Here.
Commissioner Teepan.
Here.
Okay, we're all present and accounted for. First order of business is to elect the chair of the committee. I will entertain a nomination. Well then, I will nominate Penny to chair the committee.
I would
Commissioner York.
second that. That is acceptable to me.
Okay, good deal. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No? Penny, you are now the chair. You can take over.
And I have never chaired one of these sorts of meetings at this organization, so I'm going to wander around and feel free to say, remember the agenda, let's get back to that.
Sure.
That won't make me a better chair, but you know, it'll help you all remember who is chair. Maybe that's what it's for. Are there changes to the agenda? I suggest one. I think that in order to set the meeting calendar, we really have to have developed the timeline. So unless somebody sees that differently, I'd like to reverse those two.
Okay. So
that set meeting calendar becomes C,
I see what you
discuss
mean.
process and timeline moves up.
You're right. Right. Do you think staffing needs should come at the end? Because maybe until we know what the process and timeline is, we might not know what the staffing needs are.
Well, let me frame that if I
Sure.
can, and then we might want to
Sure.
defer it until that. So where are my framing notes? So as I see it, there are a couple of things to consider. First of all, do we need primarily clerical support, or do we need expertise in a staff person? And then do we prefer in-house staffing, or would there be reasons to use an outside consultant? So that's my frame. Do you want to talk about that a little bit and then decide
Sure.
whether or not we want to defer the decision until later in the meeting?
I've got some opinions, obviously. So first of all, we definitely need clerical staff. We need to have Sarah just to do all the official work that we have to do, taking our minutes, making sure the meeting notices get out, all of that kind of stuff. And Sarah pretty much staffs all the committees, so I would say we continue to need that for this committee, just like any other committee. Regarding other staffing, I do believe we need a professional, and I'm not sure staffing is quite the word I would say, but I would probably say maybe consultant. And I believe that with everything going on in the district, and we're in a time of change and some upheaval, if you will, I believe we need to bring someone in from the outside that can assist us. And my thought is that we reach out to HR Answers, which is they're on the contractor list of SDAO. And it's my understanding that not only do we get some free time with SDAO as a member, but I believe there's also through HR Answers, we get some hours for free from them, but I don't know what the details are. And since this is a cost to the district, I don't know that this committee has the authority to go into that cost. What I believe we have the authority to do is to make that recommendation to the board on Thursday during our committee report. And we could even, this is Monday, I think by then we might even be able to reach out to HR Answers and know what a potential cost might be. And the reason I think we need the consultant or staffing is because if we want to do I'm going to say a full service evaluation, I think we need to get input from staff. And I believe that input needs to be totally anonymous, and that the staff needs to trust that it is totally anonymous. And I believe the best way to do that is through an outside person actually conducting that and being the recipient of the input, etc. So it is a bit removed from us, being done by a professional, and we get the outcome or the information, but without any identities. Long-winded answer.
Thank you. Kathleen?
It's quite more in-depth than I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
So I didn't know that's, how in-depth that was the plan.
So I had thought, and I've said this at a policy meeting, so I wanted to mention that because I've said that publicly. I had originally thought when we were talking about policies for committees that having the HR director, a professional in the field, as our staff person, and that person being able to bring in clerical staff, where you might need Sarah's help. But after thinking about it more and reading through the contract and policy things that define that, I still believe in an ongoing way that that's a reasonable solution, but might be a decision annually before the evaluation. I think in this particular case, because Sam is new, and this is, I believe, the first evaluation. Did David have a 6-month review?
No, he didn't.
Okay. That together makes it a little more complicated, and the confidentiality and the trust issue a little more complicated. So I do think that that's a good recommendation for us to make to the board. Great. So do we want to do that as a motion, since it's a recommendation in particular rather than consensus, or is that just part of the report I make to the board?
I think we can have a motion that covers several things. First of all, we have to authorize someone amongst us to reach out. I mean, if it's HR Answers that we want to go with, we need to have someone authorized to reach out to HR Answers and find out because you don't need an RFP or anything like this. I mean, they're a consultant to us through SDAO, but find out if this is something they could do and something that what the anticipated cost might be. And they might need to know anticipated number of hours of work. So if we kind of figure out what would we want them to do, and then authorize someone to reach out to them, and I think we can get that information within the next couple of days, and then put it in the recommendation from our committee to the board.
So would it be reasonable to have one motion to make a recommendation first to the board that we use a consultant and authorize? I would like to do that. Me, if that's okay with you, to reach out and find out what services are available, cost, those kinds of details, and bring that to the board.
Yeah.
So it's not saying anything about, are we going to recommend a particular entity or something, but just telling the board we're going to reach out to SDAO and or HR Answers for more information.
Right.
And bring that information to the board.
And I think, let me just see, I'm looking up HR Answers, I think. I'm just looking at them up online. I know that going to SDAO, you'd go through their consultant services, which is Shanta, and I already had talked to her a little bit, and so she's the one who pointed to HR Answers and mentioned that as an SDAO member we have some free benefits. So I'm looking at okay, apparently we have 4 hours. Let me see if this is right. They have something called HR Advantage Plus program. And I can give you the link for that is sdao.com/HR-advantage-plus-program. And that's where I'm sitting right now online.
Okay.
And let me see if they beginning January 1st, 2026, SDAO members continue to receive exclusive HR services as part of their membership, designed to deliver practical guidance, flexibility, and real value. We get complimentary HR consultation hours, up to 4, and they can be used for a variety of needs. And I'm looking to see if they say anything here about specifically about evaluation, and they don't. But
Tita,
yeah.
would they come with a pre-generated questionnaire to interview employees? I mean, because if we've got 4 hours with them and they've got to spend time generating a questionnaire.
They may already have
That's what
kind of a questionnaire, but I'm not sure it would be in person. It could be something that they do like a Survey Monkey, which is out there, and people answer, and they can answer it anonymously, and then they collate and make the report back. And I think I would envision that they would consult with us on what do you want the questions to be.
Great. And then I have another question. Do we have a deadline of when this evaluation is supposed to be complete?
I think Penny's got that.
The contract expires June 30th, you put it that way. So when we get into the timeline, that's what I wanted to start with and back into what activities have to happen in order to get us safe harbor before we get to that point.
June 30th, you said?
June 30th is the expiration date
of his current contract.
My assumption, I'm jumping ahead, but I'll say that, is that our preference is to have it all done
For sure.
that sometimes you encounter some challenges in getting a timeline in on time, that there is probably the possibility of a short extension should that happen. But we would want our goal to be that we are well within the timeline.
And evaluation is only one part of contract renewal.
Right, there's more, but
And we're not involved, this committee would not be involved in the other items that are part of contract renewal.
well, let's talk about that when we get
Sure,
up there.
sure.
So,
Can I make a motion?
yeah,
I'll move that, that this committee recommend to the board that Penny, as its chair, reach out to HR Answers to investigate their support for this committee in its in putting together the evaluation tools and process. Can you read that back to me?
Yeah. So the motion was to recommend to the board that Commissioner York reaches out to HR Answers to investigate their support for this committee in putting together evaluation tools and evaluation tools and process.
Investigate their ability and cost to support this committee.
Okay.
I knew I wasn't doing all the words that needed to be done there.
I would second. And then we can discuss. I'd like a, so we have to have approval from the board before she can even start to look into it. That's what that motion says. That's what it just said, that we would ask for permission.
Yeah, I realize what you, so maybe we need two motions.
so I want to point out that you talked to them already, you already set that up, you didn't need permission
I didn't talk to
do that.
HR Answers.
But no, you talked to SDAO.
Yes, in the course of other conversation, I was asking about what other kinds of benefits we had.
So there is some research that can be done without permission. There can't be any commitments or anything. You know, you don't-
I think you can reach out to HR Answers without permission. Because you're doing research.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting information so that the
Groundwork.
board can make an informed decision.
Right.
And we're making that, and we're having that discussion in a public meeting. So I think that's a good point, talking about the wording. Do you want to?
Okay, let's look at that wording again. How did I start
The
that out?
original motion.
The motion was that the committee recommends to the board that Commissioner York reaches out to HR Answers to investigate their ability and the cost to support this committee in evaluation tools and process.
Say that again.
Yeah, that's.
The motion was, moves that the committee recommends to the board that Commissioner York reaches out to HR Answers to investigate their ability and the cost to support this committee in evaluation tools.
So let's scrap that motion. Will you second?
I would,
scrap the motion?
I would second it. I mean, I would second that, the scrapping motion.
Okay.
And I'd like to use the word authorize.
Yes. So I'll redo that motion. That this committee authorize Penny to reach out to HR Answers to investigate their ability and cost to support this committee's work. So we're authorizing her to reach out to them.
Do I hear a second?
And then we'll discuss. I'll second.
Okay.
The investigation is what we're saying that she may be able to do beforehand, without the
Exactly.
board's authorization. So
Exactly.
shall we leave the investigation
Yeah,
part
because I
out?
have another motion in mind.
Okay.
Because your motion said the
Investigate.
committee authorizes.
Yes, the committee
So-
authorizes Penny to do
Right.
the research and find out what could HR Answers do
Yes.
with us and how much would it cost.
So, okay, have enough discussion on that one. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
So now I have a second motion.
Okay.
And that is that, that Chair York of this committee put together a proposal to the board for the use of outside consultant supporting the evaluation committee in its work and processes. Does that say it all? Why don't we
Should I read it back?
Yes, please.
So the motion was that Chair York puts together a proposal to the board for the use of an outside consultant supporting the evaluation committee in its work and processes.
I would second that.
And I think it's helpful that you said an outside consultant rather than specifying it, because if they said, we don't do that anymore, but XYZ has taken over all of that, then I would want to call them right away, and that's set up to be easily done. More discussion?
I would like to read both of those motions, one after the other.
Sure. So the first motion was that the committee authorizes Chair York to reach out to HR Answers to investigate their ability and the cost to support the committee's work. You seconded, motion passed 2-0.
Good.
And then this new motion, it was motion that Chair York puts together a proposal to the board for the use of an outside consultant supporting the evaluation committee in its work and processes.
Perfect. Good.
More discussion, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nobody's left to oppose. The motion passes unanimously. And I'm assuming, just a point of order, that not doing a roll call vote in that situation and saying it's unanimous, that gives all the information that's needed for the minutes.
Yes, yes it does.
Okay.
So one of the things that came to me as we were walking through this is the definition, us defining what our work is here.
Right.
We are an evaluation committee. Does that mean that our work is putting the evaluation tools together, conducting the evaluation, making evaluation, and being the only people who work on the evaluation? Or does it mean we do all the pre-work for the board to conduct an evaluation?
And so I'd just like to point out, we are moving on to what's on our agenda as item C, discuss the evaluation
Yes.
process and time.
Mm-hmm.
Critical point of that is what are our deliverables?
Right.
The issue of the timeline itself, which has to include key events that have to happen, and do they in some way involve the contract?
Of course.
How do they involve the evaluation itself? So I think that's what we need to be moving to now. The big one first, I think, is evaluation contract, related, and they're all, and they go together in the contract. And it's the timeline, the deadline for the contract that kind of rules the process. So what's your feeling about that? Has there been any discussion that I don't remember about when this committee was formed, what its
I don't remember that this committee was formed to have anything to do with the contract. And if you look at contract is the document and the negotiation that takes place, this is in my view, that takes place for the continued employment and conditions of employment of our executive director. I believe that evaluation is something that is done prior to that contract negotiation. And also, you cannot link compensation discussion and evaluation discussion in an executive session evaluation, or even during any evaluation. You cannot link the two. You have to do, compensation has to be done in an open meeting and differently, because you can't link the two. So what I see from a timeline is that we need to have the evaluation completed prior to the contract negotiation. And so, and my view also is that our deliverable is the process and the timeline and maybe the employee, the survey, that enables the full board to participate in the evaluation.
The evaluation can be done in executive session, right? The
Yes.
discussion of the evaluation.
I believe that the executive director has the employee has the right to either have it done in executive session or have it done in an open meeting.
So, Jen, I would say that our job is to evaluate his performance with respect to his contract. That's what I would say. We have the contract, the existing contract that he is operating under, and our evaluation is a performance with respect to that contract.
And I would probably not totally agree. I don't think it's our job to do the evaluation. I think it's the board's job to do the evaluation. And we bring the tools and information to the board to conduct the evaluation. I wouldn't, personally, I wouldn't want just the three of us doing his evaluation.
I'm not saying that, I'm saying that we are going to evaluate his performance with regard, this committee, this evaluation committee, with regard to his performance, and then we give a recommendation to the general board.
That's not what I see. I don't want to cut the rest of the board members out from doing,
An evaluation?
from participating in an evaluation. Yeah.
I wanted to make one other comment first about something that Kathleen said, and then go on to the who we are and what the committee does and what we, the board, does. You said based on the contract, and I didn't do this work, but I think we use the contract and the policy that states the responsibilities of the executive director, because that may well have some details or additional bullet points. My guess is that it does. It didn't look to me at first glance as if the bullet points in the contract were
specific.
Included everything. Whether or not they added some things or what, I haven't done that, but I think we have to look at both of those. It would be, I mean, to me, obvious that a CEO comes in and is responsible for knowing the policies and following them, and either raising the issue that it says one thing here and it says another thing in another document, which we've all seen that kind of thing happen. It's that employee's responsibility to say, which do you want? And let's, you know, and let's get that documented in the minutes or something like that. So I think I can't think of other documents,
One of
but
them,
yeah.
their job description.
Okay, that's different too, so. So the documents to develop the evaluation based on
His performance with regard to.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps you could provide us with those documents.
the contract.
I may have it someplace.
I'm sorry?
I may have those in my original orientation binder.
I don't think you do. You might, I don't think your orientation would have had the
Policies.
contract or the job description in it. Do you remember having that at all, Penny?
It seems I've seen some sort of
I don't know
contract.
that I've seen it. Well, let me see it's the policy, executive director role, executive director requirements. Those may have some different things.
Those are in our board policies.
Right, executive director evaluation. I'm just looking right now at policies, so it looks like there's
Some.
one policy
Yeah.
where there might be something. So rather than say the evaluation policy, I'm going to say the executive director policies, because
Okay.
there may
How
be
about
bits of
the
it.
board policies regarding the executive director position?
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if we're using those documents.
That's set.
The contract, the board policy regarding executive director position, and the executive director's job description.
Right.
Good.
Yeah, I can't think of anything outside of
Good.
that.
I would say that
Yeah.
that's what we're working
Yes.
from,
Yeah.
to develop the evaluation tool that goes to staff, that goes to the board, because the board needs an evaluation tool as well. And then as all of that information is brought together, then we sit with the executive director and conduct the evaluation. And the "we" in that sentence is the board.
The board. So-
And I'm also very much committed that anyone I've ever evaluated
Okay.
gets to use the same tool and do a self-evaluation that comes to us as well.
So we are not constructing an evaluation. We are constructing a foundation for an evaluation.
We're constructing the foundation and the tool.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Right.
Okay. All right, so we're not doing an
And
evaluation.
we're in charge of the process
Okay.
from now till the board conducts
Okay.
the evaluation event. Does that make sense?
I'm going to look at it a little bit differently.
Okay.
There are a variety of processes that you can use, and I've been involved in several of them, and I won't say that there's necessarily one that is best or not. It's us carrying forward what's best here, and I do think that ought to be our role to suggest the process.
Okay. We recommend it to the board, and the board
Okay.
develops the process or adopts the process.
Reviews, alters, and adopts or approves. Yeah.
Right.
So they can, say, we didn't like this piece of your recommendation. Always,
Okay.
the board's
Okay.
right in any recommendation. One experience that I've had is that the committee reviews the data, this is going farther than what you've talked about, reviews the data, may come up with a draft summary and takes that to the board for discussion, alteration of the summary. The reason I'm saying it this way is that in this particular experience, City Council, what was included in the public minutes was the summary. That was our agreement with the city manager, that that the council in executive session saw all the data, had the opportunity to discuss all the data with the city manager, but that we weren't going to release a final document. We were going to release, in this case, a one-page summary. And to get from one point to another in a timely way, to have had the committee go through and do a summary first, and so that also was reviewed by the board. It allowed that document to be altered rather than created by the board. So for me, that was a moderate.
And that committee didn't have to do all that work in a public meeting?
Well, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. But they were not discussing compensation.
Right.
They had been appointed by the board, by the council, to make a recommendation back, which they did, review this and review the data and review the summary. Again, having that in closed session. So that discussion, I felt, I'd been involved in drafting the summary, so there's a bias there, you know, made the discussion go smoothly. I mean, certainly counselors said, we want to add this, we want to add that, we think this is more important, you didn't notice this, revise this, but it didn't wander too much.
Well, for example, looking through the employment agreement, you know, like you said, we don't need to do the compensation, we don't need to do the termination. The duties is what we're evaluating, his performance. So what we're going to do is pick out.
This committee does not do the evaluation.
Correct, but I'm saying for her summary.
Well, possibly for the summary, and I'm looking at this from the perspective of public meeting law,
Yes.
of confidentiality, et cetera, So I'm going to kind of lay out in my brain from where I'm thinking as a process or timeline or steps or whatever. I see that we as a committee, first of all, make that recommendation that we use outside consulting to the board. The board hopefully accepts that recommendation. Then we as the committee work with that consulting staff to put together an evaluation document that reflects
All those
the
documents.
duties, the job description, etc. We then have that document is provided to the individual commissioners for them to do their individual evaluation. The document through the consultant is provided to staff for them to have input.
Can I stop
Sure.
you for a second? Maybe you were getting to it and I interrupted you too soon, but so the consultant and our committee take a document, does the evaluation form need approval from the board first?
I think that's a question. I'm not sure. I think the board can rely on us, but we can ask for that authorization from the board that whatever we come up with is that the board
Presented to them.
Well, no, they may not know because as an evaluation committee, they are trusting us to come up with the evaluation tool. So the recommendation at our next board meeting can be that the board will accept whatever tool
Okay.
this committee comes up with,
Okay.
so that we don't have to wait another month and, put this all out there,
Good.
but we can be doing our work in between.
Okay.
But the board has to give us that authorization.
Okay.
Right, that
Good.
makes sense to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's valuable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you go back and find the motion that created this committee?
Absolutely.
That was when I had to leave the meeting early, which would have been the February board meeting.
Right, I believe so.
Or, yeah, because I had
Because
to
it
leave.
might be in that motion.
That was
Maybe
just last
January?
month.
Maybe it had been January.
Makes more sense to me.
Why did I have to leave early? But I had to leave early.
Because
But I don't know.
Because that might be in the motion, how
Right,
much authority we have.
Good.
That would be helpful to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me continue with the process then, is that, okay, that evaluation tool is then taken through the consultant to staff. It's also sent to all of the board.
And we haven't defined yet who all it goes to. We'll have,
The board, the staff, and by staff, I mean all staff.
but we haven't had that.
No,
You're
we have.
you're suggesting
I'm
that to start.
suggesting
Yeah, got
it, so, and of course, the executive director. So, all these different entities.
You're talking about all the staff?
I am. You can do that through SurveyMonkey, and you know what? I've done it. It works.
And that's because you want the staff to have input.
The staff needs to have the ability to have input.
Okay, and this is part of that confidential thing that you were thinking
Yes.
that HR answers would draw out from them.
Right.
So you're talking about a mass?
We have less than 30 employees. How many
Okay.
employees do we have? 20-some?
28 or something.
Okay.
Yeah, there aren't that many.
Okay,
So.
I'm just trying to be clear about the process.
So then that information
Okay,
gets collated back,
to HR answers.
and maybe HR Answers does that collation, and they might incorporate the self-evaluation and the board evaluation in that collation. And I mean, when I did this, all the board members got it by SurveyMonkey as well, which makes it really easy. And then that collation comes to the official evaluation
Board,
meeting,
yes.
which is all the
The board.
board with the executive director, which is either executive session, or if the executive director decides that they want it public, that it can be done. Okay. So then that's the evaluation time. Out of that evaluation is the document that Penny is talking about, which is the summary,
Yes.
which becomes the public record.
So you want to suggest who you think does the summary?
I think you do as chair of this committee. Now, it could be that the chair of the board wants to have 2 people work on the summary. I would not want more than 2 people working on that summary. Now, if that summary has to come back to the board for approval before it's let out, then again, you've got another executive session because it is about an evaluation. You've got another month in there, etc. Or you.
So we've got a couple of things going on.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a questionnaire.
Yes.
That is going to be
Yes.
sent out.
I think that's great.
one thing. And then we've got a summary, a policy, job description, performance,
That's done after the evaluation.
or at the same time. We don't need the evaluation to summarize this
Yes, you
document.
do.
Well, I think you're talking about two summaries. One that's done first, putting together the documents.
The
so we have
description.
in one place
Yes.
all of the
Yes.
stuff
The
about.
that's
the
what I'm
summary
looking
of
at.
the survey.
Of the
Yeah.
duties that we are evaluating the performance of.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the tool that
Uh-huh.
is developed is based, the questions in the tool are based on,
Those three documents combined.
exactly.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Do we combine those three documents before HR sends out the questionnaire? Or can we combine those
No,
three documents?
HR Answers is going to
Use
use
their
those
own.
No, they're going to use our documents.
Those three
And
documents.
And they may have other HR
Yes.
kinds of
Questions.
questions. That's why they're coming in as a consultant.
Okay. So, back to the three documents. Are we going to condense and combine
We
at
don't-
some point?
We don't need to. We have the three in front of us, and
Okay, so we're just going to use three full documents.
because what you're going to do is you're going to draw out of those documents for the questions.
That's what I'm saying. We are going to summarize those and condense them for the questions. We're going to draw
Well, I
out.
think you and I might be saying the same thing
I think
in
we
different
are.
words.
Okay.
I don't see that you have to do the work of condensing documents together. I think you
Okay.
can sit there with the
Yes.
documents and you can
Yes.
say, okay, here's a question.
Yes.
And
We are saying the same thing. Good.
If-
Okay.
If you were going to have a bunch of different people look at those three documents, it might be worth the time to do a cut and paste so that
Okay.
people don't have to sort through that.
Okay.
But if we're giving those three documents to the consultant, that probably doesn't
Great.
need to be done. If it did, they could do it easily.
Okay.
And so there'd still be consistency.
Okay.
And I think one thing to remember, and it might be that we do give those documents to the board members as part of each board member as they are completing their evaluation tool, because I'm not sure all the board members have a copy of the job description or have a copy of, or have a easily reachable copy of our policy, of our board policies. So having that as the background to inform each board member as they're, doing their personal evaluation, I think is a good idea.
So we can go.
I'm so sorry. You all wanted me to pull the policies for the executive director and the job description. Did you want them?
Oh,
Please?
great, that's wonderful.
Okay.
So I'll just here.
I am in great awe of your multitasking.
Yeah, she is, isn't she
Right.
I
something?
am too.
Yeah.
So sometimes
Fabulous.
we're going to ask you to do things that you're going to have good reason to say, okay, did you want me to do A, B, or C first? Because I truly can't do them all at one time.
Yeah.
And that is a good thing to point out to us, because it's very easy to keep throwing things at,
Right.
yeah.
So these are all the documents we said that we would need. This is good.
This is very good.
Yes.
Great.
Just now I'm going to go home with a highlighter and start highlighting.
I did, if that's okay, one more thing. The minutes from January 22nd, it says that commissioners agreed by consensus on the following committee assignments. And so that was done.
Say that again?
Commissioners agreed by consensus on the following committee assignments, and then it was several.
So there wasn't a motion that defined the committee. Okay.
Okay, good to know.
All right.
Yeah.
That gives us a lot of latitude, I guess.
I guess.
I think the policy, there is a policy that talks about the committee, from what I just told.
Well, and
We
is
did.
that in our, that's our policy committee?
That one.
Yes.
Well, what I pulled was the executive director policies. I can pull the board committee policy as well. Let me pull that out.
It is one challenge, having gone through all of that. There are bits and pieces in different places in the policy. So I think it goes back to something that you said, Kathleen, that might really be useful, is to put one cheat sheet together that is a cut and paste of the policy, of things from the policies, plural, that are, these are the things that speak to the responsibilities of the executive director from the policies, and maybe could say policy 3-2, rather than each person having to sort through all of those. The job description, that's a single thing, that's easy enough that somebody has to go through all of those. Same thing with the contract. But with the policies, because there's this and that, I think that it might be a handy tool for folks.
And I think that policy B704, it says at a minimum, the evaluation committee will consider. And this says, this actually delegates the performance evaluation to a committee of the Board of Commissioners. So maybe what we do need is clarification at our board meeting that whether we are the evaluation prep committee or the evaluators themselves. I will just express that if I wasn't on this committee, I would not vote to have a committee of 3 speak for a board of 7 to evaluate.
I've never been a part of a board that was the governance of an organization. In every organization that I've been a part of, an evaluation was not the duty of everyone to participate. It was the job of a few.
Right.
So I don't know what is a governing, a public board.
And I take it from the perspective that each one of us has a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers. This is an elected board, and my personal view is that elected officials have the responsibility of evaluating the person that they oversee, hire, the one person they have as their employee.
Right.
And I know city council, I don't know how your city council used to do it, but Seaside, it is the whole council.
The whole board.
The whole council, so the whole board, because we're all the elected officials who have this one employee.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So I've been also an elected member of 2 boards of education, and that was done in committee. And
By a smaller committee, or as opposed to the full board?
The evaluation
was done by an evaluation committee. And the board looked at that, and I don't remember whether they made any changes or not. Again, I was on the smaller committee as well. One board of ed, not every time in my 4 years, but and so I do have experience with elected bodies that didn't do it that way. And I see advantages and disadvantages of both methods. One of the the things that I think was important in the way it was done. Well, City Council, it was done also really in a combination. Every elected official gets a voice in that. So it doesn't go from a committee to the public or from a committee to the employee. But going from the committee with a summary and then to the board for full and open discussion in executive session, assuming that the employee has opted not to have it done that way, makes it, I think, less likely that the discussion will be dominated by one or two people and on some occasions be more divisive. It doesn't eliminate individuals who may have a different point of view from being able to voice that.
Correct.
And to see every element, not just the summary. They're seeing the compilation and the summary and saying, hey, you missed this. And one of the differences between the compilation and the summary, it's a reason why I think a summary, if done that way, does need to be done by the chair or the chair and a consultant or the chair and another individual, which is honestly probably best than the chair alone. Something is, a portion of it is generally strengths here, weaknesses here, work on this, these are your goals. Some narrative pieces, not just the summary compilation of the numerical data. And I have seen a couple of them developed by somebody that just totally missed that there were a couple of weaknesses that were sort of mildly stated, but being a member of the body, I knew that those were important and needed to be addressed. So I found a combination method that allowed every board member to speak their mind and see all the data, but that had something, a summary beforehand that gave some focus to that discussion. Didn't eliminate any comments, but gave some focus. Had the potential of taking a little less time and being a little more focused. So that was the value that I saw.
I'd like to read the current policy that we are operating under.
Oh.
It says, the executive director shall receive an annual performance evaluation by a committee of the Board of Commissioners. The committee will report their findings to the board.
Right.
And then the board can approve or amend. So
And I think
it says the committee will perform the evaluation.
And changes to pay or other compensation.
which is not proper.
It says that the board can do the changes to the compensation.
Oh, that's right, that's
The
right.
board will vote
Yeah,
to
it's a
approve
different sentence,
and make,
right.
yes.
Okay.
But it says they shall receive a performance evaluation by a committee. So
I understand.
that's
And,
the existing policy.
right. And what we have to remember is that this is a board where 5 of the 7 members were not around for this policy when it was developed. And I believe that we need to have the board read this policy and decide, do we want this policy, or do we want to exempt ourselves and do it a different way? And that can be done, but I think that the board members need to look at that.
But we are currently operating under this policy.
Yes.
So I think that as part of our recommendation and my report, and this is really a critical piece in getting the process for discussion in front of the board
Yes.
right away.
I agree.
That we point out that an option is to do a summary and to do it the way the policy is. If they don't want that done, and it doesn't specifically mention a summary, but it's kind of a reasonable way in following the policy. If they don't want it done this way, the way it's written in the policy, that they need to specify that and take action to vary from the policy.
I think that's very well said. And so from that perspective, even though the packet for Thursday has been put together, I would like to see these three documents, this set of documents, part of the packet for Thursday's meeting.
It seems like we have gotten things after the packet has gone out before, so however that is best to be done, if it's
as long as it's at least 24 hours ahead of time.
Okay.
A change to the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. You can probably tell from what I'm saying that I do support the modified method that I'm talking about with the summary that still goes to the full board for full discussion. I also support calling attention to this policy so that the board can decide whether or not they want to vary from it. I don't think that, and this is about anything that we're doing that is based in policy, we need to look at the policy. And because they're kind of a mess sometimes, having dug into one at great length, we should not take action as it's stated in our policy if we think that's the wrong approach. But we have to take action to either change it or vary from it. Intentional public action in order to do that. The assumption is that we are going under policies, but when we find something that we don't feel is in the best interest of the district, we get to talk about that.
Yeah, I agree with all that you said on that.
Kathleen?
I do too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And you mentioned a little bit earlier that maybe the summary document is done by the chair and the consultant. And that was something I hadn't even thought about, is that that could be part of the use of HR Answers, is they're supporting and consulting throughout the total process and assisting in putting together a document.
So I'm going to also suggest that I don't have perfect notes, but somebody probably does, that I draft a policy that I will bring and go over at the meeting.
A policy.
A revision for
I'm
B704?
sorry, the process.
A process.
The process. That based on information I get from HR, from the consultant, if they say, we usually do it this way, I might say to the board, they suggested this or this. In committee we talked about this, the consultant talked about this.
And you know, SDAO might have a best practices kind of process already.
Right.
Let me see if they do. Right now, I'm just at their website and I'm doing a search on evaluation process. Let me see if they process. Let's see if they do anything. That's interesting. Here's one called Making Executive Director Performance Evaluation Meaningful. That's interesting as well. Oh, I know. the word process is getting too many things. Let me just go evaluation. There was a session at one of their, it's designed for the board of director and commission members, So you might want to look at that as you're looking at your stuff. How to best evaluate the performance of the CEO, executive director, etc. So I don't know when this, what year this was.
Are you the executive assistant?
Oh, my goodness.
2000, let me just read the standing committees on this board policy, board committees.
Oh, you know what? That's, at this point, board committees is the policy that we are bringing to the board. It's changed.
Already.
It's being changed.
Okay,
The
because
policy committee has a recommendation for that.
okay, because they've got, this one says the board chair. I don't know if they mean the
That's
committee
Kathy.
board chair.
If it's the board chair, it's Kathy.
Okay. Will assign members, and the executive assistant will assist the committee with the evaluation process.
And we change.
Okay, all right.
Look at your packet, and there's a new proposed
For
policy.
B312?
Is it B312?
This is B312.
No, that one's not in the packet.
Oh, it
yet.
isn't in the
No,
packet yet.
But I think it has to, I think,
We had one more look at it?
yeah.
It was supposed to go to you for review before it was put in the packet.
I think that was the disbursement in depositories.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
you're
312 is
right.
still in process.
Yeah.
Because that was the one we were trying
Oh,
to move through
yeah.
really quickly.
Yeah, so it's really difficult when a board is in the process of reviewing all of its policies, that some could be old, out of date, miswritten, etc., to say, okay, we're going to follow this policy that isn't a good policy or isn't an up-to-date or best practices policy. So
I know.
and that's why you have a policy committee, is because your policies either have to reflect what you're actually doing or direct or be changed.
Yeah, right.
And there's a lot in our board policies.
Well, this
that-
is B312.
Yeah.
So
Where did you get B?
She just handed it to us. She just
Yes,
did.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
That
Oh,
one,
I'm
you had
sorry.
also asked for the, I believe, the policy dealing with committees, and that is
Right,
the
and this is,
existing
It's
policy.
This is
4A.
yeah, this, and
And that one,
I can tell
truly,
you.
it's like 10% is left. But I think that, just as we're saying before about noticing it's different in the policy,
Mhm.
that we need to note that
Yes.
there are a lot of changes coming to that.
Yes.
So where we're asking for a process,
Yes.
for a review of the suggested process,
Yes, and there's one
keep in mind
spot.
that there are some differences.
Yes, and that's one spot to do.
And B312 is in current review.
Good,
And
that's what we want.
I'd say you're right, 10% of it has
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
retained.
That's what we want.
90% of it is being changed.
Yeah, it's like all red marks.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Um,
This video they have is actually done by HR Answers. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
presentation done by HR Answers, and it's from 2013, so that's pretty old, but I think it still
Gives a sense of.
right.
So realize that I have some time constraints, and this is a lot
Yes.
of prep for me.
Mhm.
So I'm going to do the best I can. The highest priority for me is contacting the consultant and, and making sure that that's a possibility
Right.
and getting their stuff. So what I want to do is encourage you all, when I'm making a report, to feel very free to add, and didn't we change our mind about that? Or we also said there was another alternative. If I set a standard for myself that I'm going to capture every variable, you will be disappointed. and I want you to not be disappointed. So
I'd like
just
to
a
know
heads up.
something about communication between the Executive Director Evaluation Committee. Are we allowed to have communication?
I don't believe so.
But we are.
Why would we be communicating with?
I'm just asking if we are allowed to, because we are right now communicating with one another. So if we sent an email between us, that is no different than what we're doing, correct?
We can't send an email.
Even though
amongst
we're
us.
meeting?
We have to do any of that in public meetings.
If
Like
the,
this.
Like
not
now.
necessarily, if the email was Penny saying, I've talked with HR Answers and this is their fee, or they are not available, or something that's totally fact, that's based
Right.
in research, we can do that.
But I couldn't submit a summary that I picked out to the committee.
A summary, you mean if you
Out
went,
of this, if I went and cut and pasted this document and I made a summary, I couldn't submit it to this committee.
Why can't that wait? until
I'm just
board
curious.
meeting?
I need to know this because like I said, I've never been a part of a public board before. And I want to be clear. So can I or can I not? Not that I want to, I just want to know.
If anything in the communication is an opinion that you would want us to be voting on something, and you're
Okay,
trying to
okay,
change our minds,
okay.
that I think no. But let's say you went out into the internet and you went to some HR website and you saw something that you thought was really helpful or interesting. You can send that to us.
Okay,
Again, that's research.
okay.
And you're not stating,
An
I want you to
opinion.
agree with this, or
I'm not lobbying.
you're not, yeah. That,
Okay,
Right.
And the other piece to remember about that is that people cannot reply to all because you're having a discussion. It's very easy when you send information
Yes.
out for somebody to say, oh, that was great, and
Blah, blah, blah.
but I didn't like this piece of it, and that's over the line. So even sharing factual information is something you really have to be cautious about, and I think you do have to answer. You have to ask yourself, could I just wait and share this at the meeting? That, you know.
Well, there's been opportunities where I've sent stuff out to the city councilors. Did you know this? Did you know about this? Whatever. But one way to always, the start with the sentence, do not reply to all. This is not for discussion. And so to prevent that kind of thing. You can prevent it real easily by doing everybody on blind copy, because then they can't reply to all. So let me give you a phone number for HR Answers.
good, thank you. Appreciate it.
503-885-9815.
503-885-9815.
Right. And the person that I've been to her seminars before, who I really have been impressed with, is Lori Grenya, Grenya, and her first name is Laurie.
Okay.
So, okay, do we have anything on, because I can't remember, on the current agenda for Thursday's meeting? Is there, all there is committee reports. There isn't anything that specifically discusses the evaluation process?
No, just the evaluation committee is one of the committees to give a report.
Do we need to ask Kathy to add evaluation process discussion as an agenda item?
So I don't know what the practice is here. To the best of my knowledge, different in California than Oregon. If it's on the agenda in general, you can discuss it and you can take action. When I was in Corvallis, we changed that process, and you had to be specific on the agenda that action could be taken. I haven't seen that here. I haven't heard anything that says that that is necessary in Oregon. So I think the fact that the committees are there, there is a record of the work that committees or things that committee is working on. We're not talking about something outside of our area. I don't know.
I guess a committee report to me is different than a discussion.
And a request for authorization.
Yeah, I don't think it's the discussion that's an issue. I think
But
action is
a
different.
report tends to be from here to there.
Correct.
A discussion tends to be back and forth, and I'm thinking about it not only from the take action part of it, but from the how much time is it going to take. A report doesn't usually take any time, and you can say, are there questions, and etc. But if we as a committee would like to make sure that we have a discussion about and get clarification about the work of the committee or the evaluation process, I think that we should be asking our board chair to add it to the agenda now, because the board chair ultimately has to look at the whole thing and see.
It makes sense as a courtesy to the chair to be
Yeah.
able to manage the meeting.
Right.
So
I think sending an email to Kathy, asking her, and I know she typically does send emails out saying, is there anything you want to add to the agenda or you want to see on the agenda? And yes, this is late, but our meeting is taking place, and I think sending her a request to add a discussion, and even maybe with some explanation.
Would it be
Would
a
be
sub bullet point to the report, or would it be a whole nother
I think
agenda item?
it might be another agenda item. It would be up to her. She might say, well, this will be fine
To her,
and
okay.
put it as a sub bullet, but
Okay.
it's
Up to
really
her.
her agenda.
Great.
So, but I think that as Penny said, it's a courtesy as well. So,
So who's going to ask her?
well,
I'll
Penny's
do
the
that,
chair.
yeah.
So, yeah. So do we want to come up with a, then thinking like what a timeline might look like?
So I'm going to make
Ooh.
what,
It's 10:15.
yeah,
How long was this meeting on for?
11.
9 to 11.
Oh, okay, got it.
This is an aside. It's really a challenge to me to not have a whiteboard in here. To have something like that where you're able to write and everybody is seeing that, these are the 5 points that we want covered in the report or in the process. And to be able to make that change, everybody can see it, it's
like that.
visible,
I like
is really helpful. I use those all the time in meetings.
Does the district have a whiteboard that's, can be brought to meetings?
On an easel?
I haven't seen one, but I will find out.
Yeah, that would be great. And I think it's a great idea, even for our board meetings. Not everybody can manage a meeting and do the writing at the same time.
Right,
But,
yeah. That's part of how
yeah.
I do it.
No,
Like this,
I do that.
I'd rather write it, yeah.
I do that too.
Yeah, everybody isn't going to want to use it, but.
Right.
But
On the
it's
other hand,
certainly
if some people are using it, the people who haven't used that before might say, oh, okay, that's how you use it.
Right.
I might try that too.
And if it's not a whiteboard, it could be one of those
Tablets.
flip pads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could come in with it pre-filled out.
There's a lot of ways to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good. Great idea.
I think it's good meeting management. Okay, speaking of meeting management, where are we?
We're, I think, at the discussing the potential timeline, and I think the operative word there is potential.
So, we're not doing the contract negotiations. And that's
probably a question we
the
want to
MPs,
ask
yeah, for
Kathy
sure.
is-
Who is doing the contract negotiations?
I would say who, but when is probably the more operative,
Well,
because that's a deadline for us.
Yeah, what I was going to say is, for right now, should we allocate 2 weeks? I want us, just during this discussion right now, to have a target, and it's coming back from June 30th. So should we look at a month before that, 2 weeks before that, a month? Okay.
I would say,
Yeah.
what if we set our deadline to May 31st, which is a Sunday?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a question. Who is going to do it? Is that a reasonable target for us?
So actually, if we're looking at, it should be May 29th, which is Friday.
Okay.
That is the deadline to have the tool,
Have everything
the
completed.
evaluation completed.
Yes.
Okay.
Not just our work on the
Okay.
evaluation, but all the work on the
Everybody,
evaluation.
the
And-
actual evaluation.
And actually, I think it will depend on what does the contracting work need from the evaluation, because they may not need the summary, they may just need the sense of what happened, you know.
I think the agreement that comes around the summary is what they need. People felt these are the things that need attention, and so overall, we are not enthusiastic about more of something, or we are enthusiastic, therefore, these things. Yeah. I guess I would say not absolutely critical, as long as the majority of the evaluation is moved, but helpful.
So what we know is today is March 23rd. We know we have a board meeting on March 27th? 6th. And we have a board meeting
April 30th?
I think that's to be determined, right?
That was the one we bumped back, right?
It's scheduled for, I think it's the 23rd or whatever the Thursday before is, and then there was going to be discussion at this coming meeting to make sure it was the 30th.
I changed it already.
Well,
Okay.
I could be speaking out of turn. I just know that it's on the agenda to set for sure.
Okay.
Well, I'll put
April
a
30th.
placeholder
Why
back
am
in my
I
calendar.
not keying in on this?
Do we need to have a deadline for us to complete the tool?
Well, that's what we're looking
Okay,
at.
that's
We're
what we're
working
doing.
back now to
Yeah,
see.
I'm
good.
looking backwards, and I thought, that's, the board meeting dates are sort of,
Yeah, part of that.
they're
Yeah.
building blocks in
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Oh, okay, so,
And then there's May 15th is a meeting and budget.
April 30th is a SETD budget meeting.
Well, I thought we moved,
The board meeting too, right?
added a board meeting in the morning on the 30th.
Correct.
See,
A
I
break
don't
and then a budget.
remember that, because I'm in the county budget meeting that morning.
It's all just been through email. Chair Kulisek asked me to send out
Right.
an email.
Well, maybe
to-
I just haven't keyed on
Seen
it.
it, yeah.
So It was to ask if people are available the 30th in the morning, and yes, there is a budget committee meeting that afternoon. So
Could you clarify that? Because if we're confused, then the rest of the board members are.
it is on the agenda for Thursday's meeting
Okay.
to talk about, to
Okay.
get clarification, I think, and
I
Okay.
just skimmed the agenda.
So-
Sarah, what's
And
the
then-
date of the May board meeting?
That's where I was just going. That would be May 28th.
28th, okay.
Yes.
I forget that the email system has the agenda in it too.
Yeah.
I mean, the calendar.
So what we have to know is that board meeting dates are our deadline to take anything for board approval.
Correct.
Right, right.
So we should have our tool ready to give to the board for approval by the April board meeting. In order to complete the evaluation by May 29th. Because the next board meeting is May 28th.
Now going back and forth between calendars, and that's confusing too. So, again, there may or may not be, the April meeting may be the 23rd, maybe the 30th. Is that correct?
Yeah, and
There's some
I
question.
think there's
Okay.
problems with the 23rd, I'm at LOC in Pendleton.
Well, at the moment, I want to have both on my calendar.
Yes,
so
I
that,
do too.
So we can.
I do too.
Till we get that cleared up. And then the 15th, no, that's SLIF, that
Yeah.
my challenge too. So when is the May meeting?
May 28th.
Okay, that's gonna have.
Which makes it impossible to have an approval of our tool and get the evaluation done by the 29th. If we
No,
need
we
an approval
need the approval in
of the,
April.
yes,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. We need the approval in April,
Mhm.
either the 23rd or 30th.
If they, if the board wants to give approval rather than giving us the authority, we don't need to have.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to see something.
Well, I want us to be delegated to make that decision then. That really messes things up if we can't get it started really until then.
Right.
I agree. I think that what we need to be recommending and asking the board is for them to allow us to determine the final tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, having done the research for HR answers before that and indicating we're recommending an outside consultant that is their work. That should increase the board's confidence.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, that could actually be asked of the board on Thursday.
Right, and that's one of the reasons we need that discussion time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, then that would give us a lot of time to do a lot if we got the authorization on Thursday.
Right. So one of the things that we probably need to do, is kind of set aside in our own calendars some meeting times for this group, so that, and I would venture to say that if we have HR answers working with us, they're going to be coming to us virtually, most likely.
That makes sense. So easier for us because we can do that meeting.
So
We can do our meeting
I
then.
think our calendars are difficult to mesh.
So you would say that we could have the entire meeting virtual? Is that what you're saying?
Is there a reason that we couldn't? I guess I got
That works for me.
Yeah, we could.
I cannot do Thursdays. I've got the small claims, Clatsop County Court, all the Thursdays have been booked up because I haven't done any during tax season. So Thursdays are off the table for me.
Okay, so we know we've got a board meeting this Thursday.
Yes.
And based on what they have to say, I mean, we need to kind of jump into things.
I'm gonna run out and get my phone.
So Sarah, do you note somebody?
I will, yes.
Generally, that's a good practice because sometimes decisions can be made when, I mean, we're not going to.
Like she was put on this committee after she left the board meeting.
That happens, yeah. We're not going to do that right
No.
now. But, I mean, normally I guess it wouldn't be a big deal because we now record votes by person, so maybe it's not as big a deal. Ignore me. Ignore me.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I would say, now I'm hinging this on the approval from the board, but I would say that the week of the 30th, I mean, we would want to, if we get the approval to work with HR answers, now remember, we have 4 free hours with them. I would not want to have them spend 2 hours of it in a meeting like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that we should try and schedule something the following week so that we can at least talk with them and say, here's what we need you to do, or, you know.
Because we've got a whole lot of work that needs to be done in April.
It's going to take them 2 hours to put together the packet and mail it out. So you've used up 2 of your
There's
3
no
hours.
packet to put together.
They're going to have a document that they're going to email to all the staff and
No, they're not. They, again, I don't know what their work will be. They could already have, as far as we know, a really good evaluation tool already developed.
Right.
That they give us and we review and we say, I like this, I don't like this, they could already maybe have that.
so they're not going to be the ones that disseminate
Yes,
this.
to the staff and collecting from the staff.
And we haven't gone through yet who
No.
that goes to.
Right, but what I'm saying is that's going to use up 2 of our free hours. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
So,
and what we need to get from them is what's an hourly cost after that, or what they might, what's the upper cost? Like when we talked about, not to exceed then cost. And that's the cost that we need to bring to the board.
Okay. So let's get back to the first day that we can have a meeting, I guess I would say that.
Right.
So you're not available on Thursdays, right?
correct.
This week is horrible, but next week is actually really easy. Do either of you have, or is this too soon, next Wednesday or Friday?
I think we should do it on Wednesday, Cheetah.
Wednesday's my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday in advance, we might forget to say it.
Well,
I'm good either Friday or
Wednesday doesn't look like it works for me. Let me see if Friday would work. Yeah, I could do Friday after, I gotta check on that, after like 10 o'clock.
How about afternoon?
I
Is
like
there any-
Friday afternoon a lot.
Yeah, Friday afternoon would be really good.
So if we said after 1 o'clock or later,
Can we do a little bit later? Can we do 2?
so between 2 and 5?
Great.
And that's, if possible, that might include the consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If,
And that gives them
That was really
enough
good.
time, you know, if we are able after the meeting on Thursday to let them know, yeah, and we have to have a little bit of a scope of work kind of thing, but I'm sure that, you know,
well,
Let them
mostly
know.
I'll get from them what they think it should be, and I'll say, yeah, I think these pieces work
right.
to get
And-
us started.
And I think that would be a good possibility for us for them to be able to tell us, we have this already, maybe even send us some stuff.
Mhm.
Okay,
What was the time, one more time?
2.
2 p.m.?
2 to 5,
Okay,
yeah.
2 to 5.
okay.
And our goal at that meeting would be to
Know what HR answers is exactly going to do. Possibly define and refine the process
And the timeline.
and the timeline, yes.
Are we going to look at the cut and paste of the policies and descriptions?
We can't do policy. That's the policy committee.
Right, okay, but are we going to look at,
Are we gonna give them these?
summarize?
documents?
Yeah.
Or what are we doing about what we're giving them, what we're providing them?
We could, and actually, we could provide these documents to them before that meeting. But these are the documents we're
Good.
working
Okay.
from.
Okay, yep.
Yeah, that's good.
PY sends.
And, you know, this is an aside, but I would also say that during your report at the board meeting, this committee should be recommending that the policy committee immediately start working on the policies what is it?
The one that was the
312?
haywire one is B312.
Right.
Is that the committee?
That's the committee, yes.
No, we're already working on B312.
Oh,
But you're talking about
No,
the.
I'm
you're
I'm
talking about this one.
B701.
704.
701, let me see. 702, 703, 704, 705.
Can I step out for 1 second? Commissioner Allegria has called me a couple times.
Excuse me?
Is it okay if I step out for 1 second? Commissioner Allegria has called
Sure.
me a couple times.
Yeah, so this committee can recommend that the policy committee start work on policies B701 through 705 as soon as possible. 701 through 705. Penny and I are just giving ourselves more work.
Yeah.
Well, you're just prioritizing those up to the top of the list.
Yeah.
Because I know you're doing all of them.
And getting the word out to the board. There.
Yeah.
So we're making a recommendation to the other committee Is that what the policy?
Yeah,
committee?
we're making a recommendation that yes.
Okay.
Because then it becomes, once it's taken to the board, and then it's in the board minutes, and it's formalized and totally transparent.
Okay.
Okay, so then do we want to look at some other meeting dates and
Yes.
times through April?
Well, Fridays can be awful.
So these, now, are we talking about, okay, who constructs the tool?
It may be HR answers for all we know.
Right.
Depending on what the information is from them.
Right.
It might be that HR answers gives us,
Advice.
gives us like 50 questions, and we pick out the ones we like the best.
Okay.
It might be that we sit here and pound out these questions.
So this next meeting, after we meet with HR, will be us pounding out those questions.
It could be, or it could be them reporting back to us.
And then another meeting to pound out the questions.
It could be that we get a review tool from them, and we look
Right.
at it, and we come to the meeting and we say, hey, we
But
like
at some
this.
point, we've got to pound out the questions. We've got to pound out the tool.
Yeah,
I would be very surprised if they didn't either have something for us to review and revise, or that I could find something online
Great.
for us to do the same thing.
Good.
There's no reason that we would be developing questions.
That's what I would like to see.
We might have one, and very often there will be a goals for next year. That's there.
Absolutely.
That's going to be our stuff. That's not going to be on a template.
Correct.
So we need to think about that. But that also, we have to have the question so that people can give us that information.
Does an evaluation include goals for next year?
oh yes.
Yeah.
Because if
Okay.
you don't include goals for next year
Okay.
you can't evaluate
Evaluate.
on whether or not they fulfill goals.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So next year, we'll be looking at the same documents, unless they've been modified, that we did this time, and the last evaluation.
Great.
And one of the good things is when you have goals for next year, if you're sending this out to everybody gets to say what they think are goals, and you can do some sort of, and the person being evaluated gets to say what they think the goals should be.
In our strategic planning thing, we did that. We did a lot of goals, so that will help us.
And that could well be useful for people to
Yes.
draw on when they complete their
Yes.
form. I would like to do two things. I want to try and keep an eye on time now. We do need to get a couple more dates
Yes.
on the calendar, and I want to go back to something that you've mentioned a couple of times, Tita, and we haven't discussed, and that's who does this go out to? In all of the evaluations I've been involved in for CEOs, or other people who have a role in the community, you also send a couple to community partners.
Mhm.
That information is pretty important, that they met them. Those names generally come from the employee being evaluated. Not necessarily these are it, but a list of you might do these, and we might have some too, and put that together. But without asking the employee, you're not getting a picture of who the employee is meeting with.
Yeah, I think that would be the question. Who are the people that you are working with the most in the community? And I would say the community includes the colleagues in the profession in the state, like Brian Vituli. So that is something that we would want to being getting, yeah, a very good idea, very good idea.
Do you want to stick it to Friday afternoons for these follow-up meetings?
I
me
wanted to
see if
finish
that's-
this. Are you guys okay with that? That when we
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about who it goes out to, it also, so in doing a 360 interview, you
Mhm,
generally look
mhm.
at peers, people above and people below. People below are the staff. Peers are the colleagues in the community, and the people above are the board members. So I just want to make sure
No,
we're
I think you're
getting,
there.
truly covering that. Okay, great.
And I am very much in favor when I say staff, I mean everybody from the bus driver, the mechanic, I mean everybody. Because this is a small enough agency that you have that kind of thing. So
I've seen it go out to a whole college, every full-time
Oh,
employee.
yeah.
And I've seen it go out just to senior staff, direct reports, and you can make a case for either. The fact that if it's done by something like SurveyMonkey it's super easy.
Yeah.
To have a larger number pushes you to have more. And again, small group, yeah.
You guys all have emails. Everybody's got emails, so
Oh, yeah.
that's great. I like
And
the above and below.
That's the other thing, is that staff filling this out and sending it to an email outside of the agency is a better step than sending it to an email inside the agency.
So do we want to get 4 meetings in April, 3 meetings in April, and wait to see after maybe our next meeting or two what it looks like beyond that?
Possibly, yeah, I think that might be a good way to go.
I hate the idea personally, but I think it might be wise.
I would like to keep it on as regular, like every Friday afternoon or something.
Friday afternoon is generally actually possible for me.
Yes, me too.
All right, that would be really great for me too.
Am I right? We've talked about the 1st. Now we're looking at the 10th.
That works for me.
2 o'clock on the 10th.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, and let's see, then the 17th.
17th.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay.
I would have to change
Keep it
one
easy
thing.
whenever possible, but
Yeah.
exactly the same, so 2
Yeah.
o'clock.
Mhm.
And then on the 24th.
I will be in Pendleton.
Okay.
So if we did it, right now I don't know the agenda well enough to see if I could come in virtually. So
What are your dates in Pendleton?
I leave on Wednesday the 22nd and I'm back on Saturday the 25th.
Well, could we put a in-case meeting
Yes.
on at 2 o'clock?
Mhm. I think so.
Good.
I think that's easier than saying, let's get something on later.
Okay.
So put it on with a question mark.
Good.
That seems like enough, because we're meeting
I would
enough to be
hope.
able to set some more dates out. And April is, I think, when the work's going to be done for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope that we would be able to pound it out.
Yeah, because I think what you've got is then you've got, maybe if we get all of this and we can say that our deadline for getting the evaluation survey out is the end of April,
Mm-hmm.
then we have a couple weeks in May that we don't have to meet. And then we've got the work of pulling it all together in late May. Does
Well,
that make sense?
It depends on what the process is between the committee and the board at the
Mhm.
April meeting.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna.
At the end.
Right.
But you gotta, I think, once, if we set okay, by April 30th, this is going out to everybody who's participating, then I think you gotta give them at least 5 business days, if not a few more, to actually complete the tool.
Right.
And then the tool coming back to HR Answers for
Evaluation.
For compilation.
Yeah.
compilation, thank you.
If they did that, I met with them and we did the rough summary. That can be done pretty fast because they're doing that and it's just me. So it's not, it's 2 people trying to figure out a time that works over Zoom rather than several people's calendars. Then it's ready pretty fast to bring it to the board. And again, I'm going to make a plug one more time. If we have a draft summary when we're bringing it to the board, it can make that conversation go a little more quickly without shutting anybody out, but a board decision. It seems to me that that's enough for us to have on the calendar.
I think so. And I would definitely put in a semi-hard tentative deadline to have the tool ready for disbursement by April 30th.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna, if I think that I don't have anything this afternoon, yeah. I'm gonna go through my tremendous but messy notes to try, especially to put together the timeline process. And I'm gonna send it to you, Sarah, because I don't want to do, get any complications with serial meetings. And we can compare notes.
Sure.
And we'll, if you have a different one than I do, we'll just make up something in the middle and let everybody else worry about it. And I'm going to go through my notes to draft a recommendation. And
you're going to send
contact
an email.
HR.
Yes, and you're going to also send an email to Kathy.
Right.
Yeah, I ask a question.
Sure.
I'm just wanting to clarify. Was there something I was supposed to distribute to the board ahead of the meeting, or will you let me know after you talk with Chair Klesick if there is?
We're going to send those 3 documents out when we send to them.
No, I think they should be at the meeting.
Okay.
They can't discuss.
Right,
They don't
okay.
have the background to discuss what they want an evaluation committee to do if they don't see the policy. So,
Policy and job description,
The 3.
right.
all 3 of those
Yes.
documents.
Yeah.
And so you might talk to Kathy about asking Sarah
Yeah.
to send that out.
So you will let me know if I'm to send something out.
Probably.
Okay.
Or you will say,
Or I can check back in with you.
I'm sure she should have sent it to me by now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And your deadline to get back to Sarah would be tomorrow because you need 24 hours. It all has to go out before 8:30 Wednesday morning.
Okay.
That's the 24-hour bit. Okay.
Okay.
I have to be at CMH at 11 o'clock.
Is there anything else for the good of the order?
Good job. I move we adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.
Good.